Hello, welcome to the Pearly Eye Review. I'm PJ. It's been a long time since I've done this. I decided to do a childhood throwback Thursday movie in honor of the release of the upcoming live-action version of The Lion King. I wanted to do a recap of the animated classic that came out in 1994. Now, let's start with what the movie's about. It's about a young prince who is destined to be king, but his uncle is very jealous of him, so unfortunately he kills, the young prince is Simba, his uncle is Scar, and his father, the uncle is also jealous of the father. He eventually kills Simba's father, tries to kill Simba and tells him to run away. Simba survives, and Simba grows up feeling guilty that he had something to do with his father's death. Simba is convinced to go back home, confront his uncle. He finds out the truth about what happened to his father, that Scar actually killed him, not him, and confronts his uncle, fights him for the throne, and takes his place as king. Now, that's not a deep description of the movie, but that's pretty much the gist of what it's about. Now, I'll start with when I first saw this film. I can't remember the date, but I know the year. I know it was around the summer when it had come out. I was 7 years old, and the reason why, for me personally, this movie is so close to my heart is that it was the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater. Yeah, I was very late going to the movies. At 7 years old, finally getting a chance to go to a movie theater. And the experience for me, I laugh at myself because I've obviously, of course, never been to a movie theater, but I don't know if this ever happened to anyone else. When you first see The Lion King, especially in the movie theater, you didn't know what was really happening because it's a shock when you first see it. It's that African chant, "Na Sequoia," and it's so loud. You hear a lion roaring, the African chant, and then it's like, I remember thinking as a little kid, okay, is that the end of the movie? That can't be the end of the movie. It just started, right? I had never seen an opening like that before. It was very, it was, you've never seen anything like it before, and it was very moving. The circle life, because usually in Disney movies the song comes on, you see a bunch of credits and whatever, and then the story starts. But that was a very powerful introduction, first scene in the movie. Those were definitely the best moments, and just the roaring sounds, the scratching sounds, being little and 7 years old and having that movie experience, it was just like no other. I'm at a loss for words because I've seen this movie so many times afterwards, and it's just your first movie experience. What better way to have it with, The Lion King? Those are the positives of what I remember as a kid, my feelings when I was a child when I watched this movie. Now, the negative. I love this movie so much. The VHS tapes, they would release them a year later. And I would watch this movie so much. A year later I was 8 years old. And I love musicals. I was a kid with a very active imagination. I love to pretend and, act out movies. And I loved it so much. But the older neighbor kids, we're talking about kids from like 15, 16 to 18 years old, I guess, where we used to live, the walls were paper thin, and they would hear me singing or whatever and acting out the movie, as little kids do when they love their favorite film. But the thing about it was, these kids would tease me. So, yeah, I was bullied for liking The Lion King. You're probably like, well, kids do. No, well, it was bad. They called me Lion King freak. Lion King freak. Okay, and would tease me every time they'd see me walking by outside. They call me Lion King freak. Yeah. And they would call me, oh, you're nuts, you're crazy. Mind you, I was 8 years old. 7 when I first saw the movie. Very much age appropriate to like a Disney film. You know, okay, I don't believe there should be an age limit when you like Disney films. I still like Disney films, but whatever. But just to give you an idea of how old they were and how old I was, them calling a little kid, a little 8-year-old crazy, and Lion King freak. So, but to this day, I have to admit, it still kind of hurts, but I try to wear my Lion King freakishness with pride. I just look at it like they were just very sick individuals picking on a little kid. And nobody should be bullied for being who they are and liking what they want to like. As long as you're not hurting anybody. I wouldn't hurt anybody singing along with Disney songs. Every kid does that, but whatever. So that was my childhood feelings. Let's go to my favorite scenes. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And a little bit before that, when Simba and Nala are having their argument, those jungle scenes are absolutely beautifully drawn, and the color schemes are very beautiful between the conversations between Simba and Nala. I'm always obsessed with those scenes. When Mufasa's ghost convinces Simba that he needs to take his rightful place as king, the way he comes in as sort of this, elusive ghost figure, and then the color starts forming around him. He sort of looks kind of creepy, and like you can kind of see through Mufasa in the clouds. And then as he comes together, the light in his eyes, and it looks like he's in heaven, lion heaven, and it forms around him, and he's talking to his son, you are my son and the one true king, trying to give Simba confidence to not be afraid of, remember who he is and not be afraid of taking his place. No matter whatever you're afraid of, go out and do the right thing. Have the courage to do the right thing. And it's funny how this movie reflects when young Simba's so confident. He is, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that when I grow up. That's everybody. People can relate to that, even though this is a cartoon. You think, as a little kid, well, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, and then when you're an adult, you don't know who you are. I thought I was going to be this when I grow up, I thought it was going to be that when I grow up, and that just, my life is not how I thought it would be. So I definitely related to young Simba, and definitely now relate to older Simba, and you think, even as adults, sometimes we do have insecurities. But I'm glad that Simba found his place in life. And it's just a great coming of age story, and it's very relatable. Other scenes that I really like. I like the fighting between Simba and Nala when they don't know who each other are when they're adults. They find each other and they're fighting in the jungle. That is real cat fighting, other than that weird, lady slap that Simba and Scar have. I never liked that fight towards the end with Scar and Simba. It's just, no. With the, it's just, I hate it. I don't like it, though. I like the fight with Simba and Nala when they don't realize that they're friends.
Another thing I liked about The Lion King was the friendship between Simba and Nala. Even though Nala was frustrated with Simba not taking his place as the rightful king and not really understanding his whole situation as to why he wasn't taking his place as king, she still stood by him. On top of that, they're digging each other and they're falling in love. What better way to have a friendship? I wish love was like that in real life. Your friend is still loyal to you even though they're frustrated with you and they're falling in love with you. Yeah. Not only I love the relationship between Mufasa and Simba, the father and son relationship. Simba and Nala have a great friendship. The loyalty I admired between these two characters.
Who? What else? I'm sorry. Back to the "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." I started talking about that, but I didn't get to the "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." I talked about their their confrontation before the love scene. Wow, just the movement and the African choir of Simba, of you know, you hear in the background while Simba and Nala are just trying to figure each other out, like what's happening, what you just they're singing about in their minds about each other, and you hear that African choir. I like the movie version rather than Elton John's version, because I had never heard Disney music done quite like this before. I'm all about the traditional strings and big orchestra, and this was African instruments and just that choir holding up the music. Oh my God. I remember just being, again, my movie experience as a kid, mesmerized. I had never heard music like this before. See, back in the day, that was the excitement with Disney movies. You got excited what new Disney movie, well, Disney songs are going to come out with this new animated movie, and they blew the park out. I still have "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" because I listen to it because it's comforting to me. The movie version, I absolutely love it. I have so many versions of "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." It's ridiculous. I actually like more when there are no lyrics and it's just the African choir and the music. And that's it. But no dialogue from the lady that sings in the beginning and Simba and Nala. I actually like it without too much dialogue. That version of it. They have so many versions of "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." I want to mention my favorite funny moments from The Lion King. Mr. Pig. Pumbaa's Mr. Pig moment is always a great laugh. Timon and Pumbaa's whole Hakuna Matata intro. Well, Pumbaa singing about his life before he met Timon. The banter between Timon and Pumbaa overall is hilarious. And the hyenas are always a good laugh. But my favorite hyena is Ed. Just his uncomfortable, random outbursts are just, I mean, it makes me laugh out loud. And the fact that they didn't have time to name him, they just called him Ed. That's just funny in itself. And Ed is voiced by, Jesus, Jim Cummings. Is there any voice Jim Cummings hasn't done? Those are my favorite funny moments from The Lion King. Alright, let's see if I can show you what's in here. The booklet shows you the chapters, what it has on the inside. I hope you can see that. Different chapters. You know, it's kind of shiny. So that's about what are the contents on the disc. Advertisement for Lion King 1.5. That's an in-betweequel. Remember Timon and Pumbaa said that? And what else? I think this is like sweepstakes. Yeah, sweepstakes for Disney parks and prizes, you know, you can win from the movie. Never did sign up for it. And my glasses just fell. So I have this one. This is my favorite cover. They have so many covers now, but this artwork is by far the best. I never liked the original 1994 VHS cover. I always thought it was ugly. And I have Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. This is about Simba and his daughter. This is the slipcover, and this is the hardcover DVD, 2-disc DVD. This came out in 2004. The 2-disc DVD version, but the original release of Lion King 2 was 1998. I was 11 years old. And Lion King 1.5. This also came out in 2004. When this thing, I'm telling you, I haven't watched this in a long time. I haven't watched Lion King 1.5 and 2 in a very long time. I gotta sit down and watch these. This is the opening slip cover of 1.5. This is the hard DVD disc pamphlet of the chapters and the disc. Okay. Again, I haven't watched 2. I haven't watched part 2 or 1.5 in a very long time. I have to sit down and watch these again. 1.5, I really appreciate it because it looked very similar to part 1. The animation was, for a direct-to-video movie, was very good. And what Lion King 1.5 with Timon and Pumbaa is about, it's Timon and Pumbaa telling the first film from their perspective, and it is like the most hilarious thing ever. All the iconic moments from the first film are just exaggerated by Timon and Pumbaa, especially Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It is hilarious. I recommend that. They probably got a clip of it on YouTube. I recommend people checking it out because it is too funny. Part 2, I love the story and definitely the music. The animation is not the greatest. They could have done a better job on the animation. I never liked the dull colors and how things were drawn in part 2. They could have, again, done better. The animation is not great. But the story is good. Music is good. Some people don't like the music in part 2. I'm like, how can that be? Because part 2's music is just leftovers from the first film. And the song He Lives in You is actually in the Broadway version of The Lion King. So yeah, I never really understood that. And my favorite song in part 2 is We Are One, sung by Simba and Kiara. But anyways, my overall thoughts today of The Lion King. I mean, think about it. Look, how do you think I feel about The Lion King? I mean, look, I got the Lion King shirt right here, and I will be wearing this when I go see the live action version. I'm not crazy about these live action releases of Disney classics. I haven't liked any of them so far, except for just recently I saw Aladdin. I thought that was pretty good. And I don't like Jungle Book. I didn't like the Jungle Book. A lot of people seem to like the Jungle Book, but I didn't like it. I liked Aladdin, that just came out a few weeks ago. But here's the thing. I do give these movies chances. I do see them and then make my opinion. I'm not too crazy about this live action version because I think it is a little bit too real looking. I know that's how, of course, I've seen Animal Planet and PBS nature shows. Yeah, that's how animals look in real life. They definitely have that down, I have to say. But it's sometimes some things work for animation better because it's more appealing to the eye rather than making it too real, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm simply like, oh, you're stupid, but that's how animals look. Yeah, but in my opinion, lions aren't the most prettiest creatures in real life. I like mountain lions. I think mountain lions are very beautiful, but hey, people can say that about the same thing about me. Look, I'm no beauty queen. I never claimed to be. But, that's not going to stop me from seeing this. I have reserved feelings about it, but I always give movies a chance, even though I'm not crazy about making animated classics, remaking them and making them to live action. I don't like remakes in general. I think a movie should be left alone and people should just, just make more movies. But anyways, I still love it, of course. Again, I still love The Lion King. My feelings have never changed. Sometimes I used to watch it when I was down, depressed about something. It's very near to my heart. It's something that a happy moment that, a happy moment in my childhood, my first movie experience, It's very dear to my heart, and even though I was bullied and teased about it, I still watched it. It still didn't change that, stop me from liking it so much. So that's it. This is definitely a must-see. Before I recommend people watch this version, especially if you don't own the DVD or the digital copies or however you watch your movies now. Watch the original before you go see the live action version so you can remember how great this was, especially if you haven't seen it in a really long time, before you jump in and say, oh, this is better. It's animation is something to be treasured, I think. I just love art and I love animation. I miss 2D animation the most, but again, this is a must-see. That is my childhood childhood Thursday throwback movie. The Lion King. Still love it. Definitely loved it as a kid. Please like and subscribe to my channel, please. And share it, and follow me on Twitter, Pearly Eye Review. And thanks.